Okay, hi everybody. I am starting this recording about 10 minutes, 8 minutes early, so you'll be able to scroll backwards and see what you may have missed. And I just, at this point, want to do just some kind of preliminary, just stop before I want to take a breath and see where we're at in terms of getting things done. Of course, we're here at week number 10, okay? Our class sessions are Tuesday, Thursday. So today is a virtual Tuesday, and of course it's also Halloween, and also the 500th anniversary of Martin Luther putting the 95 Theses on the door at the church in Wittenberg. Now, a little known historical fact, fun fact, I'd say, somewhat like, of course, from that kooky guy on, the scientist. What is that silly show called? It's I forget about my wife, and I watch it all the time. Sheldon is in it. Sheldon. Fun facts. This has nothing to do with flags, but Martin Luther had already written the 95 Theses that he historically is supposed to have hammered on the door post on the door at the church at Wittenberg. He had mailed his 95 Theses to everybody who was anybody, excuse me, in the Catholic Church at the time. And so the news, he was already sending information out there about his points. So it's the 500th anniversary of that. Without him, probably somebody would have come along and challenged the Catholic Church and a lot of the teachings. But really, a lot of it was just against the craziness that was going on, where people were going around selling relics. And I think probably the worst is the notion of indulgences, where people could pay themselves out of hell and things like that. Just crazy stuff. But, people weren't very well educated back then. You lived to maybe be 25 or 30 at best. And life was short, British, and most people could not read or write. There's only maybe 0.5% of the entire population who could read and write, and that was in Latin. So you'll want to study up about Martin Luther, though. There's a great movie out there. It's called The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and at the end of it, the main character is being interviewed, and he tells the reporters the actual truth about what happened, because Liberty Valance was this bad gunfighter. And one of the newspaper editors looked at him and said, "When it concerns the West, we always print the myth." And so there may be some mythology around him, dramatically, hammering the theses on the door. The truth is that the church was the center of the community. And so, people back then, there was no real civil government as such. And so, 500 years ago, the church was the main place. So if you had something to say, it was like people, tacking signs on it, on telephone poles today. But if you had something really important you want to talk about, you did that. So I do realize I'm fairly early here, and so I want to make sure that you can understand what we've got going on. And you can scroll back and see the few minutes. That's the beauty of these. You can scroll forward, you can scroll back, and you can see. Now, I want to go through some of the things that we've done. First of all, let's quickly see where we are in terms of our progression through all of the Patrick texts that we've been working. And you'll see I'm loading this up. You'll see that let's see, the screencast. This is our virtual, this is the pre-recorded screencast for Thursday, the 26th. That's 5 days ago. We covered Lunch's database. That's right. I had all these hospital runs and doctor's office runs to handle for care for a relative. Your time will come. You'll find out when you have to do that. Anyway, we we're on virtual Tuesday, which is today, October 31, and you should use that invitation to come in here. But to make a long story short, we have covered chapter 18 in the Patrick text. Now, if you go over to chapter 19 in the Patrick text, you'll see it covers the multi-user environment. It would be useful to take a look at that and understand it, okay? It's just basically for, it might be worth your while to scroll through there, but it's primarily deals with Oracle, okay? And so I don't know if it's that much good. Chapter 20 is good. That covers the design of SQL, how it's put together, and I think it's worthwhile for you to see that. And it really provides you admonishment and advice, versus versus just simple code. And then they show you some output from some products. And they talk about online transaction processing systems, data warehouses. We've covered a lot of that. So chapter 20 is just kind of a generalistic overview. It's helpful maybe for you as an end user to see it. Then you come over to Appendix A. Now, I want to talk for a moment about that. Now we'll go down here to the modules, okay? And I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to scroll down here to the, let's see, today is the 31st, and I want to talk about the, Appendix A, the Oracle exercise. Now, you'll see here in week 7, instructions for check your understanding, okay? Then I give you an alternative to the check your understanding by letting you, if you wish, do Appendix A, and that's getting a free copy of Oracle, okay? Doing the installation. Now, you're going to have to do it on your own computer. OBU won't let you do it on theirs, obviously. And basically, what I tell you is to go through the steps, and I give you all the details you need. And what I will want to see will be some screenshots or print screens of what you've done. So if you choose to do Appendix A, and that is install Oracle so you can have some experience with it, I'm glad to accommodate you in that sense, okay? So that's important for you to take a look at. Now, also want to talk about the check your understanding assignment, okay? Because this is a big one. This is worth 90 points if I'm not mistaken. And what I'm going to do is I'm giving you a set of check your understanding exercises. They're on the following pages, okay, in the following chapters in the Patrick text. So, for example, there's a check your understanding on page 41 in chapter 2. There's a check your understanding in page 56 on page 56, and it's up to you to write the code, okay, and then upload the database, okay, and I give you all the instructions on doing that for each check your understanding. So you're going to be given a little bit of a snippet, a business problem, and you're going to be asked to develop some code, run a query, maybe append some data. So it gets progressively, well, they're linked to each of those chapters, so you'll see as we progress on. Now, a piece of advice to you would be this, okay? Key piece of advice. You're going to find that that there are examples all around you, and we've worked through all these chapters. So if you've paid attention, you've watched these videos, okay, then it shouldn't be that hard to go for you, okay? So that's another, and I'm at 12:31, still don't have anybody here with me, so I'm thinking that some of us may have been lulled to sleep. I'm just not quite sure. Now, the check your understanding exercise, we've got that. And of course, then the alternative was to do the Oracle. The other major thing you have coming up is the SAS Visual Analytics project, okay? And I've got those instructions right here for you, okay? And I have them here in a PDF, or I walk you through step by step of what you're to do. So you would be smart to print this out. It's 8 pages, and then do the tasks. Okay? So this will give you some experience working with SAS Visual Analytics. And I give you great detail on how to get this done. Okay? And note, I've created an upload bin for each set associated with this assignment. Set 1, set 2, etc. Okay? Now I'm going to go back over here. We'll go to the syllabus and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here you go. Upload set 1. Okay. Set 2, set 3, set 4. Okay. So I have 4 sets for you to upload. I have a bin for each one of them. Okay. And I'll go back to those instructions there, but there are 4 bins for the SAS project from Teradata. Set 1, set 2, set 3, and set 4. Okay. And I provide you a PDF with all those instructions, and I'll just go back to the module again, and I'll show you. So it's a little disquieting. I think what has happened is because we've gotten through those chapters, you may have thought we weren't having class today or blow it off. So I hope you watch, because if not, you're going to miss some important instruction that you would need. Now, today also I wanted to make sure you saw you've got the project instructions. Okay, I'll just go over that real quickly again. Okay, and you're okay. Okay. Then there's set 2, okay, set 3, and set 4. I noticed that. I note that for you. Okay. So those are the SAS Visual Analytic instructions that I've got for you there to take a look at. And don't have anybody here with me. It's 12:30 on Tuesday by my reckoning, and gee, I thought we were going to be having class today. Now, let's talk about some other assignments, and I'm going to start with this one. This morning I got an email from somebody who said, I can't get it to work. I'm sorry. I'm going to go over to page 75, okay, in the business intelligence text. Okay, page 75, and do exercise number 5 at the bottom of the page. Okay, go over to Teradata Network and answer the questions to the case. Here is high payoff. That's exercise number 5 at the bottom of page 75. So I can't make that any clearer. All right, I'm going to go on just to upload and see where we are at this point in time. Okay, and then here's internet exercise number 7. Okay, T3 is the business intelligence text, the Turbine text. Okay, And we'll look at this. Here's exercise number 7. Okay. And if I go over to page 125, okay, I'm going to find it. It's exercise number 7 on page 125. Now, I got an email from someone this morning who said, the link doesn't work. Okay, look, input exactly what they show you there. If you don't, okay, it's not going to work. All right. And you have to, don't add the HTTPS before that, because you'll get a double one and it won't work. So I'm going to show you right now in DD that it does work. And if you send me an email, I'm going to say, just go back and put it in exactly as you're supposed to. So I'm going to put the WB designer depot.com, okay, designerdepot.com/2009/50- dash examples dash of dash data dash visualization. All right, I've got that in there. Press enter. And like magic, it works. Okay. So you've got to put it in there exactly as they instruct you to do. And I want you to select 2 of the data visualization. It's explained there in the text what I want you to do, okay, to do that exercise. All right, we'll go ahead, and I'm clarifying some things. I don't have anybody here because I guess everybody figured out, or figured we're not having any classes whatsoever. I'm going to kind of try to keep you on even keel as we go through some of this. Now, what will happen eventually is when I basically cut you loose and say, okay, here's the big projects you've got, okay, I'll check in, okay, and I'll be here, and I'll send you an email and tell you, look, here's the invitation. If you have a question, I'm happy to try to help out, and I'll be here. Okay, I haven't had anybody join yet, so yeah, it's me, myself, and I. That's okay. All right. So now I'm going to go back up here. All right, and so I've looked at this, talked about this, explained this. There are some resources here, and I want to talk about them. We've done the instructions, the alternative, and the SAS Visual Analytics. Here's another one of these. I'm going to provide you some clarification on. It's due on the 9th of November. This is from BI number 2, okay, page 182, text 3. So this is business intelligence question number 2 over on page 182. I'm going to go to page 182 in the business intelligence text. Okay, and you're going to see BI number 2. It's the questions for discussion. It's on page 182. It's what are the main reasons for the recent popularity of data mining? Okay. Now there's a link that I provide you, if I'm not mistaken, a white paper from SAS that's on knowledge discovery through data mining. So I'm going to go over here in the files I'm going to see if I can find it. Okay. And it's a SAS white paper. I'll tell you, let's see, let me go over here and see if it's under SAS. I thought I had that white paper for you. Now, pages 135 and 136 also handle that. So let me go back over here for a minute. I'm going to the modules. And I'm just going to do a little editing here to clarify this. It says do number 2 under questions for discussion on page 182. Okay. I'm going to edit this. And I'm going to find that SAS Analytics white paper real quickly here. It's called Knowledge Discovery. Knowledge discovery through data mining. Oh, let's see. Well, I'm trying to find the SAS source for this. I'm not finding it. So and we'll use those pages 135 to 136 to answer that question. Okay, as the basis for your answer. Now I'm going to go over here and this in the modules. Hello there, and I started about 15 minutes early, so you'll want to circle back and take a look. I'm going over clarifying some things, Conley, so you'll, in terms of the assignments, what we've got going on, so you'll want to double back and take a look at those. Let's see. Where was this at? Yeah. I'm going to edit this. I'm just trying to kind of get everybody kind of lined out on some stuff that we're going to have left and you'll want to see the first. I wanted to go a little bit extra long today because I wanted to explain some things and talk about them. So you'll want to double back after I post the recording. Now I'm going to go back over here to the modules, and thank you for being here. Now, I made some clarifications about some of these exercises. Talked about the check your understanding instructions. That's there, and you'll see as I discuss those, and the SAS Visual Analytic Project. We're coming down to that time now, and I talked about this last week. We're down to that point in time now where you're going to be starting to do your work on an independent study basis. And what will happen is I will be here at the website with, I'll be here and online. And if somebody has a question, I can try to answer it for them or give them some help. So I'll just kind of log in. If there's any other stuff I feel like it's useful for me to share, I'll go ahead and do it. So I've talked about that, and then we have this final exercise, and I'm going through clarifying some things for everybody in terms of what's going on. Page 228, that exercise, I think is pretty self-explanatory. It is exercise number 9, and at the top of page 228, and it's have you go over to kdnuggets.com. Okay. Now those are the assignments, and then there's this final one that's over here on page 269, business intelligence number 5. Okay, that's the KD. That's 2. Okay, and that deals with kdnuggets.com. Okay, on top of the page. Now let me go over here and we'll look at this for just a second and see what I've done to us. I'm kind of going through here just to clarify, because sometimes there seems to be some confusion about what people need to be doing. And so we go over to page 269. And this is number 5 on the business intelligence questions. And that's okay. This one's okay. This deals with the RI. This one deals with the RFID journal. So I'm going to edit this right now and make sure there's no confusion about what people are needing to be doing. And the internet exercise. Number 5, page 269. This deals with the RFID journal. I'll just put this in here. And that way everybody's clear about what you're going to be doing. All right, so I'll copy that. Now I'm doing this just to make sure, because so I'm glad at least someone is here so that you'll know I'm kind of going through this, because as I've pushed stuff from Moodle in here, some of it got mixed up. So let me go over, got that done then, and I'll go over to the syllabus. And I'll get that one edited out so it's proper, so you can start to see. So what I'm trying to do is clear up for everybody any issues that might be out there floating around. And internet exercise number 5, page 269. Okay, good. And that's in the syllabus part. And then I go to the modules. I'll make sure that it carries through there as well. Now, once I'm satisfied, I'm good to go here. Okay, good. I'm going to go back up to the module here for today. And I want to just take a few minutes and talk a little bit about some of the resources I've provided everybody. And I've got some definitions here for them. One of them is on what we call a transactional database. Now, Conley and all the rest of you who will look through this who will look through this screencast, you're going to want to see why you're going to hear my comments about chapters 18, 19, and 20 in the Patrick text, because they each have a unique part, but there's really no coding in them. Now, if you choose to do the Oracle, okay, that's Appendix A. You can download that to your machine and mess with it. All I ask is for some screenshots. Then I talk some about chapter 19, talks about the multi-user environment, okay, and chapter 20 I think is useful for everybody in terms of it talks about the design of SQL. Now, when we talk about transactional database, I want to pop us over to this for just a minute, and we'll talk about it because this is some conceptual stuff. What we've been doing in this course is this is a course in data administration, okay? And so this has really been more focused on the analytic cube and how we can use it. And I've been focused upon kind of giving you an overview from the front office or the end user perspective and from the database administrator perspective. So when you're out there using databases, you understand what you're doing, okay? And if necessary, you can have an intelligent conversation with your DB. And so when we talk about a production database, this is something, when you hear that term, is one that is used for daily transactions. Now, let me stop for a moment and define the word transaction because it's important. The transactions recorded by a database may be economic. That is what somebody buys, what somebody returns, okay? It may be a valuation of inventory. It may be a list of the value of inventory. It may be payroll, okay? But it involves some type of transaction. It might be, and transaction could also mean interaction. In other words, you could have a production database, and most big companies do, or if you have a really good say e-commerce platform, you'll have a production database of every single time somebody clicked a link and how long they stayed there and where they came from and where they went to, okay, and have those types of analytics. These are what we call unstructured data, and these are things where you have people who go in, so okay, people clicked on this, this news item or that news item or whatever, okay? And so that whole structure is there. Now, so a production database is important because it lets us take dimensional databases, okay? The databases that are about variables, okay? And that have the who, okay? And the where, and harvest that data and connect the two of them to get a picture. Really, we try to do two things. One is we try to achieve operational excellence, okay, so that internally we're operating as we should. And secondly, we try to establish what I call better stakeholder communication, or what I like the term better stakeholder intimacy. And that is having a lot of flow of communication with your customer, a lot of flow of communication with a regulator if you're regulated, a lot of flow of communication with your vendors and suppliers. Okay, in other words, something that's more externally focused, and so we can use those for them as well. Now, I'm going to go back over here to another resource that I wanted to show everybody. Okay, and pop this down here, and this talks about what do we mean by a data warehouse. You've heard me use the term several times, and I've talked about data warehouses a whole lot. And they give us this is an excellent article about the difference between a database and a data warehouse, okay? And you guys can read this stuff faster than I can speak it, okay? And this is an excellent. Now, it shows, okay, it shows you all this within a healthcare setting, but you know, I don't think that I would be. You could apply this to any type of service business or sales business. So it's an excellent article, and everybody will want to take a look at it because it really does help you understand the difference between the two of them, and what we really mean when we talk about that. I've tried to fill in the blanks a lot, but I think he does a wonderful job of really just kind of capping that off, and to understand that. And here's one of the reasons that we have you take this course, everybody, and it's simple. Companies invest a lot of money in IT. And other than salaries and fringe for the people who do it for them or the vendor, they put a lot of money and emphasis on their databases, okay? In one way or another, whether it's an e-commerce engine, it's a search engine, it's a design engine, they're all at the bottom of them is a database. And so if you understand it and you know how to have a good conversation with your vendor or your IT people, you're much better. You're far off ahead. Then, of course, this talks about online analytical processing. And OLAP, when you go buy something and you put it in your cart to process it and pay for it and all that stuff, you're utilizing an online analytical processing tool. Or if you make a reservation or you buy tickets or anything like that. So there's a nice definition of that over there as well. Now, these are also some data cubes. I've talked about that before, what I call the analytical cube. And they've got some images for us, and we'll pop up there and we'll take a look at them. And you can see, the customer dimension, the product dimension, the time dimension. This is the most simplistic, but you can see as we've done queries, okay, we worked on row functions, column functions, how to take a table and split it apart, how to take two tables and link them, and on and on and on. This concept is the way that we collect and get data and turn it into information. Information is data that I can use for decision making. And all IT, okay, should be decision-centric. It should be something that helps me get information that I can use to make a decision. And the more organized and the better organized it is, the better off I am. So I wanted to provide everybody that. Of course, I've got my own image where I show you that. Now, the other resource that I had for everybody was the Leisure Database Company. I wanted to show you this one. And Conley, I do appreciate you being here. You will want to do a little bit of catching up, but this is a company that does market intelligence on leisure products. Okay, I think they've got some really interesting stuff, and they show you some of their market data, what they do. And this is a company that really is nothing more than a database company, okay? And they use a database concept. This is, what we do, and you can see, and who they are. And so they're just they're very, very fascinating company, and you can go in and get more information on them. They're kind of what we would call a boutique company that deals with a lot of those needs. Now, as we go on down, I want to show you guys one or two more. Here's a link about IBM acquiring the Weather Company, which owns the Weather Channel. Okay, and their whole idea is what they want to do, and they're in the process of doing it, is linking Watson, okay, to the Weather Channel's data sets, okay, and improving the accuracy of their predictions, okay, and improving Watson's ability to work. And so I know this sounds really, really just like science fiction, but it's true. And the Weather Company, Weather Channel, has data sets big enough to challenge Watson, excuse me. And Watson's, skilled up enough to win Jeopardy and skilled enough to win chess games. And now they're going to really build this intelligent, this artificial intelligence machine, or this piece of software with machine intelligence. And once they figure out how do we work with that big data set, then they're going to say, okay, what are some other big data sets out there that we could use and that we can hunt up? And this is IBM's attempt to get a corner of the market that Amazon Web Services has been thinking about trying to go after for a long time. Most people don't know this, but Amazon makes most of its profits from its web service because it has the best search and recommendation engine in the entire world, bar none. The only one, there's a search engine that's better, obviously, that's Google. There are some recommendation engines out there that almost rival Amazon, but nobody has the two of them combined so astutely. And so that's why a lot of people buy services from Amazon Web Services, so they have that back office operation. And then finally, this is an interesting thing, where Nike, who I think is a far more progressive company than a lot of people understand, is very working diligently to develop lines of clothing, not only fit. Let me stop for a minute. Nike, as you know, started selling shoes, and they sell all kinds of athletic equipment, shirts and jerseys and hoods and all the stuff. Well, now they've decided, if they're in the clothing business, how could they go after market segments? And they said, well, we could make stuff for men. We could make stuff for women. We could make stuff for kids. Okay. And they decided to say, why don't we make clothes suited to local weather conditions? And when you stop and think about it, that's pretty smart. So, if you live on the Mediterranean, I frankly doubt that you're going to need a coat that's all that heavy. But if you live in Canada, you're definitely going to need stuff that really retains warmth and combats moisture. So it's an interesting resource, and this is where the folks at Nike are thinking along the lines of that analytical cube. Okay, so I wanted to let you see that and get a sense of what was going on. Well, I talked about these assignments early on. Okay, I talked about them early on in this screencast. Okay, and I'm gonna just kind of let me pop open this, for example, and I'm gonna talk about this because this is 90 points. Okay. And this is a big one. Now, I'm going to ask you to check your understanding exercises on the following pages in the Patrick text. Okay. Now, let's take the very first one there. Now, here's what I ask you is I ask you to create a fresh database and then import any necessary objects from the Patrick files canvas. So you're going to get a fresh, empty Excel file, access file, import stuff from SQL Fund into your new database and do the work you need. Now, I'm going to give you an example here. I'm not going to show you how to work it, but I'll tell you. If you have the Patrick text and you go over to page 41, okay, you're going to find, it says right in the very middle of 41, check your understanding. And it says, list the description and price of all of the foods, okay? Change the name of the description column to food _ item and name the price column and the name, and change the name of the price column to cost. So right there, I'm going to ask you to do a query, and then create a couple of column aliases. Okay. Now, for some of you, it will be on many of these. It will be easier for you to go into the design view and work from there. For some of you, it will be easier just to simply write the code. And what will happen is, as you go through these chapters, okay, they're going to get more, a little trickier, a little more complex, and they go from chapters 2 to 15. I think there are 10 of these. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. It's 90-point assignment. So it's 10 points each. And you'll notice, if you're looking there at page 41, you'll see, okay, if you go back over there, you're going to see, like back on page 39, there's an example that you can use. I see an example that shows me how to do a select, how to rename a column or create a column alias. And so you can see what I'm talking about. And then over to page 56, still in chapter 2, you'll see right in the middle of page 56, it says, list the first name and last name of the employees with the first name of Nancy, okay? And you're using that employees table, okay? So that's pretty much that's pretty much what I want you to do in terms of the check your understanding instructions. Now, since we've got a little bit more time, I'm going to go ahead and just real quickly reiterate again what we're talking about with some of these other big assignments. An alternative to doing the check your understanding is to do Appendix A in the textbook, in the Patrick text. And in Appendix A, what they do is they walk you through downloading Oracle to your machine and using it. Now, if you choose to do this, okay, you do it with your own machine because OBU is not going to let you. And and if there are any consequences, they're on your head, not mine. I've warned you. Now, literally what you do is you download Oracle, okay? Now I just go over to Appendix A, and they tell you how to get your copy of it, how to do some work with it, etc. And I will ask you, if you do that, to upload a series of print screens, i.e. screenshots that document for me that you actually did install it and use it, okay? Now, there are going to be some of you who have your own computer for whom the check your understanding may be useful, but you might want to be able to say to the employer, hey, I've worked with Oracle, okay, as well as SAS Visual Analytics, as well as SQL. And feel free to do that if you wish. Now, the other big project and I talked about this earlier on, is the SAS Visual Analytics project. And I have a PDF where I've given you instructions. And I would say, as I said earlier, again, I'm reiterating, if I were any of you, I would download this, I'd print it out and have it with me, and then go through the exercise, because you go over into Teradata University and use that access, okay? Now, that gives us, of course, we've talked about some of these exercises that are due here, okay? And then starting now on Thursday, all right, I'll come over here, I will be here, and I'll be here during the class hour, and it's a virtual office hours only for this class. So if people want to come over and ask a question, I'm happy to answer it for them. Okay. When you ask me a question, if you come through the chat function, no one sees your question. Okay. It shows up. It doesn't show up on anybody's screen but mine and yours. Okay. It's designed to do that. And then, you know, as you can see, week 12. Now you should have already uploaded the lunches databases. All of these, you should have uploaded lunches database 18 last week. We worked ahead so I could give you some slack time to work on the check your understanding and the Oracle assignment if you selected it, and the SAS visual project. And then I mentioned final exam part A and final exam part B. There's no class that week because, of course, Thanksgiving. So I'm going to pop down here, and I think what I probably will do is probably on Thursday, I'll talk some about the final exam. Now I have some extra credit instructions if you care to do it, if you think you need them. Here's some more check your understanding exercises, okay? And folks, look, if you see Moodle, I mean Canvas, okay? This is just one of these things where I didn't have the time in the changeover from Moodle to Canvas to go through every single file and change it from Moodle to Canvas, okay? I mean Canvas, okay? So you can see if you want to do some extra credit work, it's there for you to do. And then some instruction, and then a place to upload them, and those are due the 30th of November. And so on Thursday, what I'm going to do is talk some about the final exams, the final exam part A, part B, okay? And at that point in time, when I'm back Thursday and from here on out, I'm logging in. I'll be here, okay, if you have a question. If I think there's some stuff out there that I've seen that's current stuff, like, you know, what's going on at something in the New York Times, LA Times, or something article or something I see, I'll share it and talk about it, okay? But I basically will just be online here, so that somebody has a question or a problem, I can help them. Now, on virtual days, I won't be in Shawnee, but on Thursdays, I'll be in Shawnee. So I'll be in my office on the machine. Okay, so if somebody wants to pop in, you could do that too if you care to. I just always put the thing on pause if I need to do that. So I started, it's 1:15. I started, I guess a little, I don't know, about 12:15. So I've been on for about an hour. And I think what I've done is given everybody enough of a running head start, to get ready and start moving. Then on Thursday, I'll talk some about the final exam and what I'm going to have people do in final exam part A and part B. So as you guys start working on your check your understandings, the SAS Visual Analytics project, these weekly assignments that are all coming up, as well as these are due the 2nd. So everybody's going to have a lot of time to work. And of course, you could say, okay, I'll work that. If you're just going to be there, and then I'll work during from 12:30 to 1:45. I'll work on my assignments. I'm good to go with that. Okay. But I do have to tell everybody, you've got to be checking in and doing something so I can count you as attending. So even if you just check in and download a file or whatever, okay, you've got to check in for me to have you counted in as as being present. If you don't log in, or I don't see that you've logged in, okay, I don't see any activity, then I'm in a situation where I have to mark you as absent. So you do need to just log in, okay, and leave it on your screen. And if you're not coming through, if you're not using the link that I set up to come in for the recording, you don't have to hear me or see me or anything. You just come in and use the site as you choose to, and do your work. And I think at that point, we've pretty much gone, where we need to go, and I've done. Now, Conley, I see you're still here, and I was going to find out if you have any questions. Conley, you have any questions? I'll unmute you if you have any.
I don't actually. I think I'm good to go.
Okay, sounds good. Well, again, everybody, thank you for being here, Conley. And here's the deal. Okay, on Thursday, I'm going to go over the final exam. Okay, and then from there on out, on virtual Tuesdays, I'll be in class. I'll have a link if you want to come in and do and dialogue with me or ask me a question, okay? And then I'll just shut it off when 1:45 comes, and so on virtual days I'll be in Oklahoma City. On Thursdays I'll be there in Shawnee. If something happens and I can't be there, I'll let everybody know. I'll send them an email. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I think we've got officially about an hour and 30 minutes. So, yeah, we're pretty good for today. And we've gone. Let's see, it'd be 12. So we've done nearly an hour and 15 minutes. We've come close. So I will see everybody on Thursday. I'll be over in Bailey Business Center. If something happens, I'll let everybody know. And I'll talk about the final, and then we're going to move to that part of the course where it's really almost like an independent study course, and you really have to manage your own blocks of time, but I'll be there to consult with you if you need it. Thank you a lot for coming and coming by, Conley, and for all of you out there. I've enjoyed having you, and I'm looking in the class, and I look forward to seeing your work. And take it easy, and I will see everybody Thursday.